morning, everyone.
You gotta have nerve.
Okay.
Let me
Good
get
morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome
Now I can't see.
to the Subforce Museum.
I was told to get you. I was
Welcome
told
to
to say
Broughton.
hello.
Welcome to the home of the
Just stay where you are.
nuclear Navy,
Yeah.
and welcome to an observation of American resolve, determination, expertise, and loyalty. We're here because the Navy and the United States of America decided that the accomplishments of a kid from Eastern Poland whose family fled oppression and tyranny, came penniless to the United States so that he could work hard, go to the public schools of the city of Chicago, learn his lessons, apply himself, and make it to the United States Naval Academy, overcoming a lot of obstacles, personal and institutional, along the way, to become the longest serving officer in the history of the United States military, and an individual who changed the course of history with his vision and determination. We are here for Hyman Rickover. The folks who have made this possible, really there's a very long list. I'm going to give you the abbreviated list, but the long list is available on the website. So let's note the commissioning committee at the Union League Club of Chicago. Darlene Greenert is the ship sponsor, and she's here. Darlene, if you're... There she is. Thank you. Our fleet admirals, our fleet admiral supporters, and these things do cost a couple of bucks along the way. Let us hold your applause, but let us recognize and appreciate the commitment of L3 Harris, of Lockheed Martin, of the Pritzker Military Foundation, and General Dynamics, a great Chicago organization, and its two arms that are involved in equipping America with the hardware we need to preserve liberty in this long twilight struggle: Electric Boat and Mission Systems. Please. Many, many guests, as you can see, and many guests will be here tomorrow morning, and all obviously welcome, and all have their own unique connection to the work of Hyman Rickover and the practice of that work as it survives in today's Navy. We're going to take a moment to highlight the kids from Chicago, from a Chicago public school called the Rickover Naval Academy, and they were just on TV in Chicago for coming out here. They're the next generation. The legacy lives on. Kids and coaches and teachers, can you please wave? Where are the folks? You're all in high school and you've already made the trip of a lifetime. Congratulations. Let me find our Commander Chapman. Brian Chapman is our officer in charge. He's running this unit. Oh, here he is. Here is Commander. You're sneaking around on me here. Commander Chapman.
Didn't mean to come
up in your baffles there, Mr. Rope. I probably apologize. So, all right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to extend a sincere welcome from Naval History and Heritage Command and all of us here at in Groton and the Submarine Force Museum for the attendance today. It is our sincere pleasure to be the venue to host this, and we've got our new Admiral Rickover exhibit that we'll dedicate today. And to just further try and make this as special of an event as we could, we have a new thing right here. We call this our hype box. I don't know if anybody was aware, but Admiral Rickover was able to join us this morning. Let's give that a tap right there.
One said, not to be occupied and not to exist are one and the same thing for a man.
I'll stop it just for brevity.
With those few words, he captured the essence.
It's about a 5-minute excerpt of a speech he gave to Columbia University in 1977. Then we've got a couple of other artifacts from the original SSN 709 Rickover, and there's another box just over to the right by our torpedoes. So please enjoy what we've got for you. It's our pleasure to preserve and present the history of the submarine force and be a part of this going forward. So again, thanks for your attendance today.
And next up, the chairman of our commissioning committee, not in my baffles, thank you very much, and he is going to introduce maybe our most distinguished visitor here today. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Bill Nissen, the Hyman Rickover Commissioning Committee chairman.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, let me first introduce our distinguished visitor, Margaret Lurie, who is the niece of Admiral Hyman Rickover, sitting here up in front. And with her is her husband, Paul. They live in the Chicago area, and so we've really gotten to know Margaret and Paul throughout this adventure we've been on, and they were out for the christening and back again for the commissioning, and we appreciate your presence. Thanks. And I'd just like to talk a bit about the exhibit itself and how it came to be and the people responsible for it. First of all, the people responsible, I would point to, and there are many people, but in terms of our committee, Jeff Sachs, the vice chair, who has been involved deeply in everything the committee has done, so I want to recognize his contributions to this exhibit. And Jeff is right up here. And then Tim Kaminsky, who really did a lot of the spade work at the beginning, met with the museum representatives to raise the idea with them of having this exhibit. We had decided that part of our mission as a commissioning committee ought to be to enhance the visibility of Hyman Rickover, and one way to do that would be with an exhibit here at this museum. And so Tim did the initial spade work, did a lot of research with the museum people here, and they went into their archives, and then Brian Daly picked it up and brought it to fruition. Got a couple important people involved. Got Bloomline Associates, which is the design firm which designed the exhibit for us, and Mark Wortman, who really created the content for the exhibit. And you're going to hear from Mark here this morning. Mark wrote a book, Engineer of Power, about Admiral Rickover, and it's really a treat to have him. And we really appreciate having his expertise in putting together this fine exhibit. The exhibit itself, we decided and brought to fruition that it will be portable. So it will be able to be sent to other museums in the future to really spread the word about Admiral Rickover. There are other Navy submarine museums in the United States that may want to borrow this exhibit, and there are potentially other types of museums that may be interested in it. So we will have the opportunity in the future to continue to spread the word about Admiral Rickover with this exhibit. Our committee is planning to continue on as a support group for the Rickover, and so we will, be able to continue to monitor where the exhibit is and who else may want to borrow it in the future. With that, I would say thank you for coming. We hope you enjoy the exhibit as well as the rest of the museum, and I'll turn it back to Chris. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Bill has a very strong personal connection, not only having served in the Navy during Vietnam, thank you for your service, but in his preparation at the Navy, they made him go 6 weeks on a diesel submarine. But really, you don't smell like diesel fuel anymore. You've overcome that. So nuclear submarines are a welcome evolution. Talk about evolution, none of us can pass on the legacy of Hyman Rickover, and society can't understand the significance of his contribution if there aren't folks who will sit down with the documents and sit down with the interviews of the folks who dealt directly with the Admiral and begin to compile and to collate and to do that sacred work of the historian. To recreate and to understand and to trace the narrative as it goes from the person involved through the years and all of the challenges, all of the obstacles that had to be surmounted. There is no question that Yale University Press found the right person to do that with the scholar and the author from whom all of us are about to hear. I got an advance copy of what they call a bound galley of his book about 8 months ago, and I dug into it. It took me about a weekend or less because I couldn't put it down. And I sure as heck hope it's here, and I sure as heck hope all of you get one, and I sure as heck hope all of you spend the weekend after the commissioning tomorrow to sit down and read it as I did, because I think you'll find, if you're here, then it's written especially for each one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Wardman.
Hello. Can everybody hear me back there? Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. This is an extraordinary event, a culmination of an incredible amount of work. 2 years ago, I went to talk at the Union League Club in Chicago, thanks to the commissioning committee, and I barely realized the extraordinary amount of work that it took. And over the years, I've seen it time and time again. Everything that's happening has been thanks to the committee. They've done marvelous, amazing work. And the work needed to be done, in part because Admiral Rickover's, the legacy and knowledge of him has been fading. During his lifetime, he was probably the most famous military officer in the world. And now very few people really know his name. And in fact, when I used to come up here researching the book, I'd walk in and there's a brick when you walk into the museum that honors him, and then you'd come in and there was barely anything mentioning the man, and then you'd go on to the USS Nautilus out there, the world's first nuclear-powered vessel, the world's first vessel to make the transit of the North Pole, which in its day was as extraordinary an accomplishment as putting men on the moon. There was really, in that vessel, you walk through and you say, well, this is a really cool submarine, but there was nothing in there that said, what makes this cool is the power plant is what makes it go. And what makes it go is the same force that was used to incinerate Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And when you think about that, the idea that you would contain that force within a nuclear reactor, and that force could be used to power a vessel, and that sailors and officers could live and work for months on end within feet of it, and do so safely, is an extraordinary thing. Admiral Rickover said, "I have a son, I love my son, I want the submarine to be safe enough that my son can go on it." And ever since he started with the Nautilus, at the sea trials, the head of whatever Navy Yard is responsible for the submarine goes out on the sea trial. And the first time that sub goes to sea, it must go at full speed, it must go as deep as it will ever dive. And believe me, the people who build that sub, they know they've got it right. And that's thanks to Admiral Rickover. Now, earlier this week, I attended an event in New Haven as a result of the horrors that have taken place in Israel. Senator Richard Blumenthal was there, and the senator said, as the first indication of the depth of American support for Israel, that the USS Gerald Ford, the most advanced carrier in the Navy, was speeding to the Eastern Mediterranean. He didn't say it was speeding there and was going to be able to stay on station effectively permanently if necessary, because it had nuclear reactors on board. He didn't add that accompanying that carrier were submarines. Nobody knows where they are, but there are submarines. The Silent Service is there. And the reason that they can be there underwater effectively until their food runs out is thanks to Admiral Rickover. It is an extraordinary legacy that lives on, and that today makes all the difference in how we project power, how we assure freedom of the seas, and how we deter any potential adversary who would dare consider attacking us. So with that, I thank you for coming. Be sure to visit the exhibits, be sure to see the Nautilus, and to understand just what that meant. It's wonderful to see Margaret Laurie here. She's a living touch to the Admiral. How many people are here who actually had a Hyman Rickover interview?
I had an interview.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for not showing us the bruises that you took from that interview. The Admiral was notorious, and if he heard me talking for this long, he would promptly swear up a blue streak and send me off into a broom closet somewhere. And so with that, I'm going to conclude and say thank you, enjoy, congratulations to all of you who've put so much work into getting the Rickover ready. This was a gift from Commander Beach. It means a lot to me. Thanks a lot.
There are books in the gift shop.
I'm happy to sign it.
Oh, and he's happy to sign them, but I want to meet with every one of you who had an interview. I had an interaction with the Admiral. I'm going to tell you because it's real short. It was pouring down rain in 1979. I was leaving my office in Crystal City. This was during the We Are Family World Series between the Orioles and the Pirates, which if you go back was one of the greatest World Series on record until the Sox 05. But I'm going to tell you that I am driving along in my, little car, and I see a guy over here who's 5 feet tall, and he's got more scrambled eggs on his brim than I've ever seen on a plate. And I think to myself, what the hell? And he's being soaked by the rain. Soaked. And so I pull over thinking that I'm going to be a nice person, And I roll down my window and I say, "Sir, may I give you a ride to wherever you're going?" Because he's walking in Crystal City, which is, you know, sort of a lonely thing to do and worse in the rain. And this little guy turns to me, and these two eyes go right through me, and they kind of, I don't know if I've ever, but anyway, they go right through me, and he says, "Do you think that I couldn't have a driver if I wanted one?" And then he turned away, and he kept going. That's my Hyman Rickover moment. Okay. Don't forget the gift shop. Okay, now, let's not forget the commander. One of the great privileges for all of the Union League Club people and all of the members of the commissioning committee has been getting to know the folks who will animate this great ship, which I know is actually a boat. But anyway, the crew and their wives, the families are a focal point, and it's been terrific to get to know the commander, Matthew Beach, who is also hiding. All of my speakers are hiding. Where is Commander Beach?
Right there.
Oh my God. You're wearing camo and I can't see you.
Yeah, I think it's a camouflage that does it, Chris. I guess first and foremost, I've had the opportunity to learn, I guess what I could best say is very robust and fascinating stories about Admiral Rickover, some of which that should not be repeated in public. But he was, what I truly did learn, he was a human. He was a man, he was a person, he was a husband, he was a father. And what was momentous to me, I had an opportunity in 2021 to venture to Chicago, myself and a couple of our fantastic sailors, and I had an opportunity to have dinner with Miss Lori, and had an opportunity to share with me some of the times when the Admiral would come home from DC and spend time with the family. And I was very touched by the stories he shared with me, and learned that he truly was a human being that truly did care. Right? It is people that underpin the technology that helps our Navy keep the world free, and he undoubtedly had to care about those peoples. So on behalf of the officers and crew of the SSN 795, I'm excited to be here with you today as we continue to enshrine the legacy of Admiral Rickover, a Jewish immigrant, the Chicago native, and as Chris mentioned, right, the longest serving officer of our United States military, 63 years. What an impressive feat. Right, known as the father of the nuclear Navy, right, he near single-handedly transformed not just our Navy, but he left an enduring impact on the Defense Department and the commercial energy sector. Right, for more than 3 decades, he headed the Navy's nuclear propulsion program. And the facts just amaze me, and they're worth sharing again here briefly. Right? Serving under 8 presidents, 15 secretaries of defense, 16 secretaries of the Navy, and 3 secretaries of energy. So an impressive record. He retired in 1982. All right, and upon his retirement, the technology that he had developed, it profoundly transformed naval operations, powered more than 40% of our Navy's major combatant ships. He helped to develop 88 attack submarines, 33 ballistic missile submarines, a deep submergence research vehicle, 4 aircraft carriers, and 9 guided missile cruisers. Just during the time that he served as the director of naval nuclear propulsion. And so he and the organization that he created also designed and developed the world's first full-scale civilian nuclear power station. Now, that's another aspect of Admiral Rickover I didn't appreciate as a young officer, that it was not just naval nuclear technology, but he spearheaded civilian nuclear technology in our power plants that we have here in the United States. So while these achievements in their own right, they're magnificent, right? Not just physical things, but he left a legacy of engineering principles that were applicable not just to the military, but also to civilian technology and education throughout the United States of America. And so yes, his principles and his relentless pursuit of technical excellence often did find him at odds with others in leadership. You can read all about it in Mr. Wortman's book, fascinating story. But it's true, his lasting positive impact on our nation's defense just cannot be discounted. And so as a result of his legacy, the Navy has named not just 1, but 2 submarines after him. I have some of my sailors here with me today, They continue that legacy through their service on the second USS Hyman G. Rickover, SSN 795. There is one sailor in particular that I would like to recognize. He shares an experience that I think no sailor I have ever met in the Navy can have. If you raise your hand, we have Petty Officer Raymer. He's down here. He is a first-class nuclear machinist mate. So in 2007, he was part of the decommissioning crew of the SSN 709. So he decommissioned, he stripped that ship from the rails, and tomorrow he will help, as a crew member of the SSN 795, commission the next generation and then retire next week. So what a fantastic. And so a lot of the history does still start here, where we're at, right? Through the efforts of Rickover and his strong technical team. It was the USS Nautilus, right? Set to sea, underway on nuclear power in 1955. As Chris mentioned, the first nuclear-powered vessel, and she rests here as a lasting memory of the legacy of the Admiral and the legacy of the submarine force over the last 123 years. And in the years since Nautilus was underway on nuclear power, right, our Navy has built and commissioned over 200 nuclear-powered warships and safely steamed nearly 200 million nautical miles, both here and around the world. And so for 75 years now, we just commemorated 75 years of the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program. You know, it's the nuclear Navy that has kept the seas open and free. My sailors were on station around the globe and around the clock despite an ever-changing maritime environment. So in closing, I sincerely thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to share my perspective on Admiral Rickover. There's some legends here in the crew, many former SSN 709 plank owners, shipmates, and commanding officers. I am proud to call you my shipmate, and I am proud to continue the legacy of our namesake and our great ship. So please, God bless our sea services and those who are in harm's way today. And I'm honored to declare that the Hyman G. Rickover exhibit is officially open.
I said at the beginning, I did say, find a place to stand where you're going to be comfortable. Okay, so we're not going on too long. We're going to wrap up here in just 1 second. There are groups of you, some of you here are going to be taking your tour today. So you got to figure out through the system which group you're in. I think Group A is leaving at maybe noon. So please don't forget. And do make it to the tour because it's worth seeing. I'm sorry, at 1:45. Okay, so you got that leads me to my second point, which is there's an admiral somebody somewhere who signed, and we've got a lot of shrimp here. So everybody get back and before Naval Sea Systems Command finds out what's going on, enjoy the shrimp, and then it'll all be done, okay? So just get what you can. Now's the kids in the back from Rickover Academy. This is it. You go to the table, okay? Closing point. I hope Mark is still around. There was another brilliant guy in the mid-century of the 1900s. His name was Albert Einstein. And I think with Einstein and Rickover, you get two sides of the same coin, and I'll tell you why. He's got a quote which I think was very profoundly felt. He said, with splitting the atom, this gets right back to the commander's point. With splitting the atom, Einstein said, everything has changed, except our modes of thought. And thus, we drift to unparalleled disaster. That was Einstein. Rickover said, I can find a way for our sailors and their officers to sleep next to a reactor that will not explode and will power them for 30 years and using the same industry and the same dedication, we can find a way to light the world. That's why we're here for Hyman. Enjoy.
You know what Admiral Greenett's wife looks like? The sponsor, she was up there.
She is she coming here?
She's got.
I think she was up here.
She's probably surrounded by people. She's probably surrounded by people.
Okay.
It's okay. Major General John Scully.
We will not. We actually have to be on base by 7:30. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I kind of thought that way.
It's like, I don't know what she's trying to do. I'm trying to get her
This is a Nebraska. We should have animal
Come on over. We're talking about the children.
It wouldn't be enough room. That's why.
Oh, that'd be great. It's touring in here. And I spent years for school.
So is there a tour of the boat today? On the boat. Wow, that's cool. I usually go on the tour.
Right, but that's why within a longer period of time,
Why Chicago? How did that?
So that's where Emma Rickover went to high school.
Oh, EB. My wife worked there. I worked there 1 year. Then I went over to the Underwater Naval Systems Center in computers. At EB, I was in vacations, and they hired me as a sheet metal.
Well, it looked like it worked out pretty well for you. So how you met her, right?
No. We're already married. She was 17.
Oh, okay.
She was 16. I was 17. We got married. I was already in the Air Force. So we get been together.
Named Rickover Academy. And it's something that he is behind getting started. So they have all these young kids that are
all the way from Chicago. Wow, that's.
Is it STEM oriented?
I don't know.
All the way from Chicago. That's amazing.
Well, that's the commissioning committee made that
Is it
possible.
Chicago?
I'm out on your commissioning committee Facebook. My name is Seth. Matter of fact, I put the sub out coming up the river for the first time. I don't know if you saw it. When it came up the river the other day for the first time, I videoed it right in front of the Coast Guard Academy. It has Coast Guard sailboats right up against it. I'm a friend of the river pilot. I went out and bought subs in for 3 years. I went out, I got videos.
In the summertime, right?
Oh, no, all year, cold, snow,
possible to get you?
Yeah, when I was on the tug, I got such good pictures of the Dallas. They made a challenge point. The decommissioning committee did a challenge point of it.
5-minute warning.
Everybody will board buses.
Please find a place where you feel comfortable to stand. 5 minutes.
In your way.
That's okay. Probably the best picture all day. Welcome to Connecticut. You from Chicago, like everybody else around here?
Yes, I am. And you're from Connecticut, no?
Yeah, right up the road.
Right up the road?
You know why they call it the Windy City?
Because I can't remember the year, but there was politicians.
Yes.
Yeah,
A lot of people think it's because it's windy.
No,
it's because they...
Yeah, and then there was like, so I don't even, I need to go back and revisit it, but I know it has something to do politically with the name.
Yeah, that's it. But they bought the children from Chicago? You guys went through a lot of expense here.
It's cold, isn't it? And is this unusual weather for you guys?
It's the first of the cool weather, I might say.
But this is a real chill today. It's really cold.
It is. It is a bit of a chill. And tomorrow is going to be worse because it's going to rain in the afternoon.
Oh,
and if you board the tiers tonight, at 3 o'clock at the Coast Guard Academy, they're having a parade review. What they do is they march around the cadets. They put on a little show, and it's open to the public. Anybody can drive and say they're going to go. Yeah, it's right across the river.
Okay.
Coast Guard Academy.
I was sure that was
Waterfield. No, New London. It's New London Coast Guard.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a lot of standing room for sure. They do have seats. It's kind of interesting. I put a lot of pictures out on the page of your commissioning committee page. I put pictures of the submarine. My name is Seth. The submarine coming up the river for the first time the other day.
I'm going to visit. I'm going to move out the way because this is your opportunity to get some really good photos.
You're doing a wonderful job with your camera.
I know.
The lady that's in charge of the museum asked me to do this, so
That's great.
and I put all the pictures out on your page.
On the Facebook
In fact, I was just showing her the picture I got of the submarine coming up the river the first time the other day. My name is Seth. I don't know if you ever saw
I have your
my
card,
pictures.
Seth.
But I haven't. Where would I see your pictures?
I put them on the committee's Facebook page,
Okay.
but on friends of the submarine.
Of the submarine.
Friends of
It's
the...
Friends of the Submarine Facebook page. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Friends of the submarine.
Yeah, and Seth.
I gave him my card too. Unless you have my name, you go on my page. They're probably there. A link there too.
Marty too. Okay, share this card with you.
You brought the nice weather.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been on 5 commissioners. I've been to 5 Coast Guard Academy graduations. Matter of fact, the Coast Guard Academy today at 3 o'clock.
I gotta find those people. We have to do oral interviews. You should do oral. Do you have
They
your
march
phone?
around the field, Coast Guard cadets, and
You
it's
have your
open to
phone?
the public.
Okay, so you
right
should-
across the
You
road.
gotta find those people who interviewed
Maybe I'll be able
with.
to do.
You want my...
Pleasure to meet you.
So that's pretty nice. I don't think... I don't know if you want to look at any of the They got... Imagine they bought all this children from Chicago here. With the bees.
There you go, sir.
Oh, I have
This
it.
is a project we're working on in Chicago, which is
Oh,
to
I should
build.
send it if you have an email.
Yeah, it's there. Let me see if it's the right one. Mine's right here, and that's correct.
Let me see.
Let's, co-chairman, where's the email? Email is right here, md@stiweb.com.
Okay, I will send everything I got.
Thank you.
The links.
I'd appreciate it. But we're trying to build this ship at Navy Pier.
Just hit 45 this summer.
That's aircraft carrier.
It is, and it actually functioned as a training. There were 2 ships like this that functioned as training for all the guys that flew over in the war. And they did all their training, landing, and taking off and everything on Lake Michigan.
Well, this is smaller. This is a mock-up, you might say.
It is an exact mock-up. It's a little bit smaller, but it's an exact mock-up.
That's amazing.
And we've got a shipbuilding company that's going to do it.
Yeah, it's good to hear something good about Chicago.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. It's a challenge.
Must be a big town. See, we're used to Connecticut. It's only 50 miles wide.
Well, that's right. It's a big town.
Thank you, bye now. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe. I'll be out there. Be in Have.
No, you were about to. You were not a sub guy, about public nutrition. I'm sorry. Great.
Do you want to go down and try to get something to eat?
It's going to be awful busy. Good friend of mine. Hi. USO. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Dan Mahaffey, Dr. Schultz. Dan Schultz, the Dr. Schultz Foundation. We are. It's very cool. You guys are great. We love supporting that. Oh, you just got here. Okay, enjoy. Thanks so much. Thanks, Dan. I know, you're kidding. So, I think we're going to go circulate around. Absolutely. And so we've got the reception. And then the breakfast in the morning. And then the ceremony. So great. Excited about this. All right. Is this your first one? Yes, this is. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Let me get. When it was uneventful. It's, this was great. And the exhibit. I thought the exhibit was over here. Actually, it's out there. Did you see it?
I'm going to make my way.
Okay.
So. All right.
All right. See you.
You look like security.
Yeah, I don't talk to you.
Watching.
Yeah, I'm just watching my hot box.
Oh. Someone who was listening to what he was saying.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Chicago here.
You enjoyed that long bus ride?
He had all the news people, the kids, my gosh.
It was an accident?
They went all out. I didn't know, I lived here. And she worked EB 28 years, but I never heard that Admiral Rickover was 5 feet tall. That's what he just said. I wonder if he...
Yeah, I don't know.
He's shorter than me. Melissa, you never saw Rickover, did you? No. They say he's 5 feet tall. I can't believe it. But everybody was short back then. Well, let's wander over.
Good to see you guys all made it. Just for the record, this guy
Hello. Maxwell, where did she go?
Good line.
No. I'm waiting for mine. There you go. We're getting mine. I guess I can turn off my camera.
Father got a PhD from there. So,
they have a great poem. Our son was a diver.
See if I can find some natural.
They'll be right at the beginning of the table.
And over the no, but you know one of the three.
Can't get a picture.
No, I just need to know what else did we talk about?
The big fires in the winter.
What now?
Big fire. My son told me there's a big fire in the London somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Out west?
No, right here. Out where you can see in London.
Wow. That's not good.
Yeah. Never good.
How long are you going to be here? Okay, I'll be up in a little bit. How'd you do?
Oh, I videoed the whole thing.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Come
They're
up
going to be so
close.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure I share it with everybody. I'll make sure I share it with everyone.
Make sure I could share it well.
Yes, I will share you, Seth. I'm going to share your husband.
Go ahead.
I don't even like to mow the lawn. I don't know how you're going to do it.
Right?
He's 81. I don't know what you're going to get out of him.
Take your picture.